Hey, what's guys? This is your friend Captain Yaras back with another video of Yaras and Yaras. And in this video, we are going to talk about the smartphones. Yes, what's going on with the smartphones? Are the today's generation of smartphones becoming a kind of a dumb-based smartphone? And not in a sense, in a lot of expectations, there are kind of a lot of smartphones becoming a good quality dumb-based smartphone. We're gonna talk about those in this today's video. So without any further ado, let's quickly get started. The hype is kind of the one of the reason where I kind of believe that the hype shouldn't be there for any type of smartphone. See, Apple is known for creating hype for the iPhones, whatever device they launches, and kind of in the Android side that is a Samsung and the nothing. Nothing made a really good hype for their TWS, that smartphones and each and every product which they have launched. And kind of the hype and the manufacturing things are kind of really sensitive. The leaks and the stuff is kind of a second part of this, but in a lot of sense the hype and everything manages the phones and each and everything. If the hype is a lot, then the company, no matter what they create the price, that might be a kind of not targeting a lot of people out there, but what are the expectations might be not delivered. In a lot of sense, the hype is only a key to the success for a lot of brands. In a lot of small based manner of the smartphones, there isn't a lot of high expectations for the hype or a lot of sectors. In a lot of sense, as I told you, there are only three main companies who are focusing a lot into a hype. Google Pixels are kind of a lot of leaks have been seen around before even the launch of the smartphone. They aren't that much high enough to keep the hype and stuff like that. Even there is a lot of Android based smartphone, and Pixel is known for the updates and each and every security based softwares for the Google itself. But in a lot of sensors, a lot of segs, lot of based, a lot of senses, right? Don't matter what I spoke over. Anyways, in a lot of senses, a lot of things have been based upon the hype and the manufacturing. If the hype is created for a smartphone, then it is really good for a lot of manufacturing. A lot of based on the price based structure of that smartphone will be high enough to attract a lot of people and to spend more money, or willingly or not willingly, on that device. The hype can be created in a lot of sectors of the smartphones, no matter what. Social medias might be one of the biggest reason. Are a friendly YouTuber or who is kind of known to have a good representative in the tech based sector, then it's gonna be really good creating the hype. The another reason would definitely gonna be the foldable, or you can see this flippable smartphones. See, the foldable and the flippable smartphones have started rolling around in a lot of ranges, around under a lakh, or you can say under sometimes the 50,000. You might be able to get a good quality older, or you can say the latest and the greatest foldable smartphone, differing upon a different price points. And we have seen a lot of foldable, or you can say the flippable smartphone from the there would be a Oppo, Vivo, there is also the Samsung, Huawei, there is a Techno who is also into this market, and there might be a lot of good examples over there. But in a lot of sectors, the foldables are kind of really tough. We have seen a Gorilla Glass 3 protection on the Gorilla Glass 5 glass. There is a Victus or Gorilla Glass Victus is also, and kind of a really different types of a screen, which is kind of securing your hard touches on your screen and making sure it don't get scratched very easily. But in the inner side of this complete foldable, or you can say this flippable smartphone, is a kind of a really sensitive, tiny, or you can say sensitive basically plastic screen, which can be easily scratched and can be easily coded really easily. And the company put a screen protector and kind of warranty is also there if you scratch very easily by the time of 1 year or sometimes even more. But it is still going to be a plastic based screen which will be easily scratched up. Or you can say if you live in a tensed, hyped or a sunny area, then it might be, in some cases it might be able to get easily burned up in a really glass based structure pointing towards your foldable screen. And this foldable screen's complete video viewing ratio is a kind of really 3.4 or some 3:4 type of ratio. In really some manners only we might be able to get a 16:9, on those complete foldable, or you can say this flippable smartphones. In flippable, you might be able to deliver that 16:9 aspect ratio for viewing the videos on the YouTube, or you can say any social media. But in a lot of sense, this foldable smartphones aren't that much catchy. On the second note, or on the foldable smartphones, is definitely going to be that hinge. See, we have started seeing that the hinge are becoming a kind of say really dumb. The one of the reason that I don't like hinges a lot. Companies tell us that it will be folding in this much amount, this much times complete year, and even we are appreciating that type of stuff. But that same thing was going on with the that pop-out camera section, where this complete pop-out camera failed due to that type of structure, and it was a kind of expensive due to having a lot of mechanics, and that's why it was kind of selling in a lot of strange manner. But this complete foldable, you can say this flippable smartphones are kind of flagship. By the time it got old, it started coming to a budget type of sector. Same goes for that pop-up camera sector. We have seen a lot of good quality pop-up camera phones, but one of the things which is really important for a smartphone is the processor and stuff is kind of negligated all that type of fault. And if you go ahead in the budget market, you know how can you get easily fooled with a single, or you can say any type of smartphone compared with the another smartphone. In a lot of sectors there might be a good wide camera, then might be a good ultra wide, but not a wide. It is vice versa on each and every spec sheet if you compare it via and via. And if we are talking about the budget type of smartphones, then this complete budget type of series is been so coming in a lot of hype in a lot of sectors, because the pricing point of this budget type of sector is kind of say, we also talked about under 20k you'll be getting this smartphone, but the pricing is like 19,999 INR rupees. Kind of say this is a way of their marketing too, but in a lot of the sector I don't like this type of stuff too, but it is kind of like that. Under 20k you will be getting the smartphone, and that's why a lot of hype is also created for that smartphone. Same going ahead with that same type of budget type of sector, then we have seen a lot of type of over planning over the smartphones. We have seen smartphones coming around in a rumor for around 1 to 2 months earlier, and it will release after 1 or 2 months as per that plan, because it is completely planned as per the hype, and the stuff will be created by from the retailers, or you can say this online partners. It will be able to sell the more and more to the customers like us really easily. And this complete budget type of sector are kind of coming in a lot of hype, and a lot of pricing gimmicky, and a lot of kind of say over obsessed with their complete planning over their budget type of sector. If you talk the brands who are into the flagship, we have seen a lot of rumors coming from them in the budget type of sector. That is Samsung, and we have also seen the flagships leaks and renders, but those are the flagship, and the flagships are known to be a kind of say coming with something and delivering something which isn't expected for that smartphone. And that's a complete in a budget type of sector. We have seen from Xiaomi's budget type of phones, that is even their Oppo is into a budget with that A series or F series. Vivo's Y series is there, Vivo's V21 V series is there, Vivo's each and every other smartphone can be there into a budget, or you can say into the flagship, which comes into a hype and comes into this over planning stuff. This one thing might be a big concern over this dumb making smartphones. We have seen updates aren't that much catching, and companies are now giving that feedback into the update market, and basically the software, or you can say this OS update. But we hadn't seen any big updates, that big amount of number like 5 years plus, because that might be really huge, and I believe there isn't any brand who is making the 5 years plus into the Android ratio structure. There might be other structure too, but as per me, that should be a good level of OS, or you can say this complete software, or you can say the security patch backup, because that might be a big user by the smartphone for a longer time. And if he only gets a update once in a year, that might be a really a kind of say a really low security level, and security patches are one of the biggest reason that the phone should be lasting a long. Another thing might be a kind of say repairability and sustainability. By the time the phone gets older, as I told you, it parts and each and everything about that smartphone is harder to get into the market, and brands might be charging more than the price point of the phone, or you can say the half the price point of the phone. Same goes for a lot of smartphone in their flagship and the budget era. There might be a Apple would be a biggest example. By the time the phone gets old, the pricing of the displays and the stuff are kind of really expensive. The biggest concern of the battery life is there for a lot of smartphones of the iPhones, which is a kind of say expensive from the Apple itself. And if you go ahead into the local, there might be a trust issue from the person whom you are repairing the smartphone. And same goes for the Samsung and each and every other type of smartphone who are making the glass back and stuff, who charges a lot, because a lot of companies are there who charges a big amount for something which is really tiny. And we aren't that much into a complete based techie guy who knows what is going on. And sustainability of the smartphones, we all know, by the time the phone gets older you will be upgrading and might be you will be exchanging, and it will be ending up into a recycle, or you can say into a dump yard, or not a dump because some of them are basically dump, into a dump yard, and it won't be recycled. So I would be suggesting you go ahead and exchange it, and to the brand itself they might be recycling or using that ahead, and in that way you will might be able to completely cure. In that case I will be suggesting the Fairphone will be a really good. It is not available globally, but you can easily go ahead and buy the square part from them itself, and you can repair in your house easily. A kind of a really nice approach from the Fairphone, but in a lot of sense it is not available globally. And the Fairphone isn't that much high-end flagship, but yeah, by the time they will be making progress and they might be becoming flagship too. So yeah, that's it for this video. What do you think about, what are your thoughts of why smartphones are becoming dumb? I talked about some of my factors. What do you think? Let us know in the comment section down below. This was Captain Diaz. You were watching Chaos and Diaz. If you're appreciating our work, then the like, share, subscribe gonna be appreciating, and it might be really great if you press the bell icon and get access to it for more amazing such content like that. I'll catch you in the next video. Stay safe, stay connected. Peace out.